Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of your March Madness update here live on Amped Up Sports, the Sports Web, on I Love St. Pete and the Hub. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Without further ado, let's go out to our Big East correspondent live from Madison Square Garden for the Big East Conference Tournament. Will Lewis, welcome to the Evolution, my friend. What's going on today? A lot of exciting basketball.
A lot of exciting basketball. We're right now in a little bit of a calm before the evening storm, right? So the afternoon session is done. They're out here cleaning up here at Madison Square Garden, getting ready for the evening session, which will be St. John's. 7 o'clock, St. John's will be facing Villanova, and then the 9:30/10 o'clock game would be UConn and Seton Hall. So if you are familiar with the New York area and just familiar with the Northeast, this part of the bracket is going to produce a complete sellout. It's going to be electric in here. Villanova and UConn travels very, very well, and they love coming to Madison Square Garden. And St. John's is 10 minutes away east, and 15 minutes away east, and Seton Hall is 20 minutes away west. So it should be very interesting tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And the day started off interesting because Providence actually survived a scare there. Talk about that a little bit. 65-61 over who?
Over Butler. So here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about that. If you look at the stats on that game, I was looking at halftime and I was like, well, how's Butler even in it? Because Nate Watson established himself early. He's, of course, the Providence big man. And he went off today. He had 26 points. He was getting to the spots wherever he wanted. He was rebounding the ball. Butler missed like 10 free throws in the first half. So I was just trying to figure out how they even was in it. And it was tied at the half. So it was a very close game, though. Very close game. But Providence did pull it off. And they had a gang of people in here. They travel well, too. So it was very loud in here. And it felt like being at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence a little bit.
All right, now the second game that just ended, and I watched a lot of that game because I was interested in it. Not that I wasn't interested in the first one. You have to do a day job during the day. Creighton defeats Marquette 74-63. Talk about this game. I mean, this was a bad start by Marquette. I mean, at some points, they were down, 18-13, and they had 7 turnovers at that point, and only 5 field goals. So really, Creighton came out, played defense, and it seemed like, every time Marquette decided to make a run, Creighton would hit a big shot. In fact, it came down. It was like 63-61. Big three-pointer to make it 66-61. And after that, Creighton didn't look back, right?
Peter, you saw that game. You saw, and from just by hearing you say that, you saw the second half. That happened 3 times. Marquette went on 3 different runs, and every time they got within 6 once the first time, then they got within 5 twice. And each time, Creighton had an answer for it. And then the third time was the final dagger because they had an answer and they just couldn't stop. They went up about 12, then they started trading baskets, and then Creighton started making more baskets. So yeah, it was just Creighton had just too much for them. Kalkbrenner. It was, first of all, it was really balanced scoring for Creighton. But then Kalkbrenner 7-1, he was there, the big guy, kind of like what Nate Watson did with Providence. He kind of was like the catalyst down low, but he got a lot of help. Hawkins had 4 threes today. So it was great for them. It was a balanced win, but it was out of all their starters. There was no bench support whatsoever. So it was interesting.
How good is that front line? We're on with Will Lewis here of Amped Up Sports live from the Big East Tournament. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your March Madness update. Hope you're liking this content that we got coming up here on Amped Up Sports. Hawkins and Kalkbrenner, how good is that front line? I mean, some people would say it rivals some of the best front lines in the country. What did you see today from that?
I think so. They've been able to do that for a while. Like, where was it? They came into, it was early in the season where Villanova came into Omaha and got smacked Do you remember that?
Yes.
They got smacked. And that's their front line. They had no answer for their front line. So if their front line comes to play like that, they could make it to the championship.
Well, I tell you right now, that's going to be a heck of a matchup tomorrow, of course, with Providence, Creighton versus Providence. Now with Marquette and Shaka Smart's team, do you think they're on the bubble, or are they in the outside looking in at this point, in your opinion?
They're in.
They're in. Okay.
They're
okay.
In.
Okay.
They're in. I don't have any question about them. The question out of the Big East was for Xavier, and the way that they lost yesterday, the fact that that Indiana won today, and that Wake Forest won yesterday.
Right.
I think they're out.
I mean, and you look at Michigan, everybody's excited about getting Juwan Howard back, and then they go flat cold in that second half, and they let Indiana win that game. In your opinion, is Michigan going to be in, or are they a bubble team?
A lot of people think that they are in. I personally think they should be a bubble team. I don't think they've proven anything in the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were too up and down.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, they did have a couple of quality wins, but I don't think it was. I think their overall record is not enough.
Yeah. And what do you think about Buddy Boeheim? He didn't play in the game. Syracuse loses to Duke today. Wasn't intentional with the replay that you saw. He apologized for it, but he knew he was wrong, right?
I'll be honest. I didn't even see it. I was too busy here, so I missed it all. But and I didn't even know. I can't even imagine. I didn't see the game at all because I was busy here. So I can't even imagine how Syracuse was even in that game to begin with today.
Right.
But I'm hearing that is it Jimmy Boeheim? Jimmy Jr.?
Buddy Boeheim. That's his son.
Buddy, but I'm talking about the younger brother.
Jim, that I don't know. You got me on that. I didn't know he had another younger brother. But
I think, because Buddy was suspended, right?
Buddy was suspended. Yes.
So I think there's another brother. I think there's a younger brother who had like 28 today.
Well, I'll just go through the replay. Yesterday, they're playing Florida State. It's out of hand. It looks like the player, I believe it's Wilkes, gets the rebound, and it clearly looks like Boeheim just goes and slugs him right in his midsection. And then the coach, his father, of course, defending him, says, no, yeah, he really was. It wasn't intentional. And then he's saying, everybody's saying it was intentional if you watch the replay. Well, what do you look forward to tonight in this Big East tournament to wrap it up?
For this Big East tournament, I'm a St. John's guy, but facing Villanova is a tough task. But here's the thing: it's very hard to get 3 wins in a row. It's very hard to get 3 wins in a row in a season. So I don't know what to make of that. This Seton Hall UConn game is going to get ugly. It's going to get there's going to be a lot of rebounding. It's going to be a rock fight.
Right.
I do have UConn winning that, though. I think they have too much size.
Okay.
Although Seton Hall does have size, but I think they have too much size and skill. So I got UConn on that, and Villanova. If Villanova and UConn face each other in the semifinals, that should be a really, really good battle.
All right, Mr. Will Lewis, live from Madison Square Garden for the Big East Conference Tournament. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. See you soon. All right, my friend?
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Will Lewis right there. Not as this man right here, the legend, called him Will Smith. That's Will Lewis. But here we go out to the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member, live from Amalie Arena for the SEC tournament. And of course, the big question for me is, how many fans were there today for the Florida Gators? Welcome to the Evolution, my friend.
Oh, there was a huge Gator contingent here at this game, Peter. And they had 7,000 last night for the first 2 games. But they are definitely having a much bigger crowd for that. And what a game, Peter. What a game. Florida and Texas A&M go overtime. Florida basically Kawasi Reeves, he ties the score at 70 with a shot to force overtime. And then Dasan Diarra. And if you go to Amped Up Sports, you'll see that shot. I got the ball going through the basket for that 3-pointer to win it in overtime for the Aggies, 83-80.
Yeah, and it was a really Texas A&M, most likely they dominated this game. I watched a little bit of this game also, but it was that push in the second half by Florida, 45-37. But as we always say, right, live by the 3, die by the 3. I get it. They get a late 3 there to go into overtime. But 5 for 24 really was the death knell for this Gator basketball team today, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know what, Peter, was a strange game in that both teams were shooting the bonus with 17 and a half minutes left in the second half.
Right.
And A&M missed some huge front ends of one-on-ones that they could have locked it up. And, in fact, Florida's down 6 with less than a minute to go, find a way to tie it up. And, Reeves coming off the bench has 21 for Florida. But A&M, 5 players in double figures. They were just basically a team where they shared the ball, made shots when they needed to. Henry Coleman, 22 points to lead Texas A&M. But again, Peter, it was a war under the basket. And the referees tried to take control of it early, and it got to be a free throw fest.
Yeah, and I think we lost Leo there. You there, Leo? I think we got some sound issues there. Hold on. Let's see if we can get him back on there. Oh, hold on a sec here. Leo, you there? Let's go back out. Let's go back in. Leo, are you there? I got no sound at this point. Okay, so again, just to recap, 83-80, Texas A&M in overtime over the Florida Gators. Florida right now 19-13. Come back in, and then we'll go back out again if you want to, because I can't hear you. No sound. No sound at this point. Yeah, no sound. Just come back in. So we'll get him out of there. Like I said, 83-80, Florida over Texas A&M. My question for him, of course, is, Tampa Bay fans being out there and seeing this tournament in Amalie Arena, how disappointed are you going to be with the Gators out basically in the first round? And the other question is, with that 19-13 mark, do you think they could be in the tournament, or could they be out? Again, your special edition right now. Let's go out to these comments. Nee says, fire those cannons as I shout. Good stuff. And Troy Polamayu, King Troy, are you going to do a show of duckies for the draft? No, that is a no at this point. No.
How about no?
Let's go out to Leo Haggerty. Conference tournament at Amalie Arena. I was asking you, how disappointed do you think Tampa Bay officials got to be with Florida being down early?
You know what, Peter? I would normally say, yeah, that's a problem. But the big boys are showing up tomorrow. Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, and Tennessee, and they are going to bring a boatload of fans. Probably half this town will be wearing Kentucky blue tomorrow. So, yeah, Florida's out, but it will not affect the attendance tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday.
Now, look, I know they're out of the tournament right now, but they come into this game. Well, right now they're 19-13, 9th overall in the country. Are they on the bubble, or in your opinion, did they have enough quality wins during the season to be in the NCAA tournament?
Peter, I think they're one of the last 4 in. But again, that could change depending upon how these conference tournaments fare out. If the favorite, like let's say Providence, doesn't win the Big East, all of a sudden it's Villanova or Connecticut, that could throw one of these teams down the road, the Michigans, the Floridas, the San Diego States that people are saying are on that bubble, or the last 4 in. All of a sudden they go out. And that's why it's such an important thing to try to do as well as you can in that conference tournament.
Absolutely. You talked about the big boys. I mean, what are you looking forward to seeing both of these matchups, especially Kentucky? Do you think Kentucky has enough to win this tournament overall? Yes or no?
Peter, all 4 of the teams I just mentioned have enough to win it. Kentucky's problem is they're young, and they're always going to be young because Calipari always has those one-and-doners. They come in, they go out. Tennessee may have their best team in years. Rick Barnes has had some really good teams. This team is peaking at the right time. Arkansas Musselman has done a tremendous job down there in Fayetteville. It's just amazing how Arkansas has come to play. But if it's a close game, if Bruce Pearl's in it at Auburn, he's worth at least 3 points. So it's going to be a great day tomorrow. And don't count out LSU.
Right.
They're still got some talent there, and you're going to see some really good basketball down here tomorrow, Peter.
All right, speaking of coaching, we're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scouted Out media member, Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. It's the Sports Web, live here in I Love St. Pete, the hub, and again, Amped Up Sports. What was your thinking, or what did you think about that decision today by Coach Bruce Weber of Kansas State? His controversial remarks about bigger programs not doing it the right way, and paraphrasing, saying his program is doing it the right way, and now he's resigning. What do you think of that whole situation?
You know what, Peter? I go back 35 years with Bruce Weber.
Okay.
When he was an assistant coach at Purdue, he's been on my show. I know him very well. He's as honest as the day is long. And again, Troy Odegaard sent me the press conference, and it was from the heart. It was actually something that needed to be said. In fact, Lon Kruger basically said the same thing. What's taken so long to take care of these guys when the FBI has them on a wiretap? I just like, in fact, Peter, if you go to Amped Up Sports, I wrote my, daily memo with Leo about LSU. They are precariously on the death penalty line with what's going on with their football program in terms of sexual harassment and how it's been swept under the rug. And now with the basketball program, you're looking at a possibility of that happening, because it's definitely institutional control does not exist at LSU right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem, it seems like, and we'll see how that all works out. What's the other game after Florida that you saw just now? Because I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was watching Creighton and Marquette. What else did you see today from the SEC tournament?
LSU and Missouri, and LSU came out and pressed Missouri from the get-go. The Missouri Tigers had to play last night. They only have 8 players dressed. So, give Coach Will Wade a lot of credit. He said, hey, I'm going to make these guys expend a lot of energy. And it did. They got up as far as 30-9. Now, Missouri came back, made a game of it, 76-68. But at halftime, it was just 39-20 LSU, and they had just put themselves in such a position that they didn't look back.
All right, what's your thoughts on the breaking news of the day? Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association have come to a tentative agreement. And big boy, we're going to have baseball back by April 7th. About time, right? I mean, how many 15-hour sessions do you have to do to get this deal done?
Billionaires fighting with millionaires, right, Peter?
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, here's the amazing part. And Major League players have complained about the 162-game schedule. I said years ago, and I put it out today, basically saying that, hey, all you got to do is play 10 doubleheaders, and it cuts at 10 games. Well, guess what? They're going to play 162 games, and they're going to make up these 3 or 4 series as doubleheaders. What a novel idea. Oh, I think I had that thought years ago.
Yeah.
You cut the season down by playing day-night doubleheaders. You start them at noon. You come back at 7 at night, 6 at night, whatever. Clear the stadium. Right. The owners still make their money. The players get their 162 games. The owners get their 162 games. And you're not talking about playing from the beginning of March to the middle of October.
What do you think about the proposed rule changes? Now a pitch clock, and also you take the shift away. I mean, to me, that defensive shift hurts one team and one team only. In my opinion, it's the Tampa Bay Rays the most, right?
Yeah, because they would use the analytics that they had to figure it out. Peter, the reason why it didn't happen back when you and I were growing up is real simple. If you put the shift on, hitters would go the other way. They'd hit into that open gap, or they'd bunt it down there. And it didn't matter if it was Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, or Felipe Alou. It was just those guys were going to do it because, you're going to give me that whole side of the infield. Guess what? Here it comes. So, again, I think it's a crazy rule because all it does is tell batters, okay, great. We're not forcing you to hit the ball where it's pitched. you just pull it and swing for the fences.
All right, good stuff. The other breaking news of the day, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, the Chicago Bears are trading pass rushing specialist Khalil Mack to the LA Chargers for a 2nd and a 6th-round pick. I mean, basically, the Chargers are doing what you need to do. Look, you add a Russell Wilson, you have a Patrick Mahomes, you have a Derek Carr. You got to get after the passer. But shouldn't the Bears gotten more than a 2nd and a 6th-round pick for Mack?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what, unless there's a physical issue that maybe, he has to pass a physical or there's a problem there. But, this was a guy that Chicago gave away a couple of first-rounders to get out of, back then it was Oakland, but now it's the Vegas Raiders. Again, Peter, I don't know what's going on with that, especially after the numbers with Russell Wilson. 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and now 2 and a 6 for Khalil Mack. That's just got to tell you, Peter, how much they value offense more than defense in the NFL.
Well, absolutely, and that's the reason why you pay a player like a Mack and a Bosa. But the Chargers now are going to have Joey Bosa if he can stay healthy. Mack the last couple of years hasn't been able to stay healthy, but if those two can stay healthy, both of those bookends on one side, good luck in that division versus the Chargers. Good stuff, Leo Haggerty, live from the SEC Conference from Amalie Arena. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, all right?
Absolutely, Peter. And we got 2 big games tonight, Mississippi State against South Carolina, and then Vanderbilt, Alabama for the nightcap.
All right, so we'll see you later with more updates here on Amped Up Sports. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend.
Take care, buddy.
There's the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, a special edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Coming up at 7:30 tonight, we'll have J.P. Peterson of FanStream Sports, the J.P. Peterson Show, talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all the movement around the NFL, Major League Baseball coming back. What's the latest with Stu Sternberg and his lawsuit? And then at 8 o'clock, we will have Kelsey Nicole Nelson. I'll just call her KNN, multi-award-winning sports reporter from Fox Sports 1340 in Washington, D.C., talking about the Washington Commanders and their moves the last couple of days, namely Carson Wentz. And of course, we'll take your phone calls as always here. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Like the Hub, like I Love St. Pete. And of course, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. And do 3 things for me as we give you this update on Amped Up Sports. Bring the passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, and we'll see you at 7:30 on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. See you then.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. St.